here today to celebrate and do a groundbreaking for a very important project which symbolizes a lot of things. But I think first and foremost, it symbolizes promises made and promises kept to the people of New Bedford and the region by Governor Patrick and Lieutenant Governor Murray, who during campaign said that they would be investing in the entire Commonwealth of Massachusetts in order to bring economic development opportunities to every corner of the Commonwealth. And the governor stood right here and promised that this new project would in fact be started during his administration and completed during his administration, because it would be an important and a smart investment for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts to play off of the assets and the resources that they have here and the people of New Bedford to well position the city of New Bedford in the region into the offshore wind industry, creating jobs and opportunity in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts and right here in the city of New Bedford. And you have heard Governor Patrick many, many times talk about our generational responsibilities and how we have to remember our generational responsibilities when we make decisions in governing. And Governor Patrick has done that in this project particularly. And here today to represent the next generation is Jamel Jimenez, who is a senior at New Bedford Voc Tech, majoring in electrical technology. He will be graduating this year and hopes to find a job in the field of electrical technology and engineering. He is a great spokesperson and a very symbol of our generational responsibility that the governor will be meeting by investing in this project. Jamil?
Thank you, Secretary Sullivan. Good morning, everyone. I'm Jamil Jimenez, a senior at Greater New Bedford Voc Tech in the Electrical Technology program. First of all, I'd like to thank everyone that took time out of their mornings to come here and support the new offshore wind terminal that's being built here in my lovely hometown of New Bedford, Massachusetts. Seeing the city evolve over the years has been great, from the Marriott Hotel over here and the JFK Highway Improvement Project opening up historic downtown to the harbor and making it a little bit more people-friendly has been great. This project gives me great hope for my city. I'm glad to be here making a part of history. Everything's gonna be great here. At my school we have a wind turbine. We have solar panels that students from our school have helped put up. We have a solar trailer right now funded by Mass Clean Energy that our students are putting up right now. It's also great. I'm glad the terminal is being built here because I'm studying to become an electrician and hope to work in this field someday. I'm really excited to see the huge ships in the harbor over here, looking like something out of the Discovery Channel. And seeing New Bedford get back to the city that lit the world. I feel great representing the youth of my city and hopefully working on the first offshore wind turbines in the United States. And now it's my honor to introduce the Governor of the Commonwealth of Massachusetts, Governor Deval Patrick.
Jamil, thank you so much for the beautiful introduction and for so beautifully representing your generation. The students at New Bedford Voc Tech, but all of the young people, all of the working people here in New Bedford and all around the Commonwealth who yearn for a brighter tomorrow, for a stronger tomorrow. There are 20,000 jobs that the U.S. Department of Energy estimates will come from offshore wind development here in the United States. The power from offshore wind has the potential to power half the households in all of the Commonwealth. Half. And think of all of the energy independence that comes as well. Being able to determine our own future, being able to free ourselves from the volatility in prices. All of those things are about how we build a stronger future, about how we create our own future. And that is what this project is about. Yes, there are companies and jobs who benefit directly from this project. but there is a future that we are trying to create, an opportunity to lift ourselves and our families up. And I recognize fully that not everyone agrees that this is the right thing to do. Wind is not right everywhere, but wind must be one of the elements in how we create energy independence, and the offshore wind project at Cape Wind is a signature example of that, and I'm proud to stand with it. Many, many people contributed to today's milestone. I want to acknowledge and thank the Lieutenant Governor for exceptional leadership and for being the best partner a governor could hope for. Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. Secretary Sullivan and his team at the Executive Office of Energy and Environmental Affairs have been consistently brilliant. They're all here again today. We thank you all for your leadership. Alicia Barton runs the Clean Energy Center, the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center. She is an investor, or they are an investor. You aren't personally, I don't think. But the center is an investor in this project and in so many others that are creating this new energy future. And Alicia, we thank you for your leadership, you and your team. In addition to the many private investors and workforce leaders, there are many, many civic leaders who have had a role in creating this new future, and I want to acknowledge them as well. Senator Cowan, Congressman Keating, the whole federal delegation. Senator Montigny is here as well. Representative Cabral, the entire House and Senate delegation in the State House. Mayor Mitchell, thanks to you and the members of the council for helping to organize us today and contributing the land, time, and patience. Many, many individuals in the community have weighed in, have gotten engaged, have cared about this, have, frankly, from their feedback, made the project better and stronger, and we thank you as well. We need to get this project up and running. I said I wanted this project done before I leave office, and I am not willing to run for a third term just to make that so. So you have got to finish by the end of next year. And let's get all the jobs and the promise and the hope that goes with that for this generation and for Jamil's. Congratulations, everybody.
Thank you, Governor. And the Governor already mentioned his partner, Lieutenant Governor Murray, and a promise that they made again that they have fulfilled is that they would govern for the entire Commonwealth. And I don't think anybody from the city of New Bedford or this region has seen a governor or a lieutenant governor or an administration with a bigger presence in their community. They have fulfilled that promise to be here, and because they understand, and the lieutenant governor uniquely understands as a former mayor, that the important things that are happening on the ground. The people of New Bedford and the region know what's best to move their community forward, and the lieutenant governor has been out here listening to that every single day and has had a huge presence. And it's my honor to introduce our Lieutenant Governor, Lieutenant Governor Timothy Murray.
Thank you, Secretary Sullivan, for your leadership working to help bring this day to fruition, working with the A&F Secretary and all of the stakeholders. I was just in New Bedford last week with Secretary Deval, delivering some more good news for the city and the region when we announced a new program called the IRAP. Mayor Mitchell thought it was a new rap song, but the IRAP is the Industrial Rail Access Program, which is allowing us to continue to build on the strength of the Port of New Bedford, which is transportation, and having that working port and continuing to diversify and grow that strength. That investment that we're talking about continues here today. And it's something that we feel strongly about because it's important. This region's population is projected to grow to more than 900,000 people by the year 2030, making it one of the fastest growing regions of the Commonwealth. We need to maintain this great momentum by strategically investing in the South Coast region, which means we need more money, just like he's holding right there in the bag, for revenue, so we can continue to invest and bring rail to expand the investments in the port, to create the manufacturing that is so part of the clean energy sector. By implementing and moving forward with the bold clean energy agenda, Massachusetts now has more than 71,000 employees working in the clean energy sector today. That's up from 11.2. That's up by 11.2% from 2011. This growth outpaced the overall economy almost a factor of 10. Clean energy continues to maintain its place as one of the Commonwealth's marquee industries. And manufacturing in this sector is also growing, and we're home to some of the leading research in the field. We are here today to celebrate a significant clean energy investment soon to come to New Bedford, one of the most important commercial ports, not only in the East Coast, but in the nation. How has New Bedford come to be such a viable port? Every time I visit New Bedford, or the Port of New Bedford, whether it be here or the Fairhaven side, you're able to see a community that knows its future is so linked to its important past. You see it in the government officials, the legislative delegation, Mayor Mitchell, the people who work here each and every day, residents, entrepreneurs, tourists. Examples of infrastructure and economic development in the city of New Bedford and neighboring communities like Fairhaven only paint a small picture of the growing economic activity in our seaport communities all across the Commonwealth. Our coastal communities support the regional and statewide economy through tourism, fishing, shipping, and commerce. With more than 4,400 people employed by the city's commercial port, our investments are enhancing the infrastructure and promoting economic development and job creation in the region. Since taking office in 2007 under Governor Patrick's leadership, our administration, with again funding support from the legislature through the state's Seaport Advisory Council, has invested more than $12 million to improve infrastructure and economic development for over a dozen projects in the Port of New Bedford. Investment in the gateway cities like here in New Bedford will drive economic activity locally and regionally. And these investments by the Seaport and others will help make this fleet of 500 commercial fishing vessels, a growing recreational boating community, 2 inter-island ferry services, and an active and growing cargo shipping, container, and cruising industry. And another $7 million has been invested through successful dredging in the New Bedford and Fairhaven sides that now enables the port to carry large international vessels and cruise ships into the harbor. We are here because Governor Patrick and our team understands that for the entire Commonwealth to grow and expand, it takes a governor and a team that's working with regional stakeholders, investing, and making sure that we have a path for the future that's about growth and infrastructure so that the young people here have meaningful jobs in the way that they have in this community in the past. A great day for New Bedford, a great day for the South Coast, and a great day for the Commonwealth of Massachusetts.
Thank you, Lieutenant Governor. And as we start moving through the program and make acknowledgments, can I just say all of you are dignitaries and deserve to be mentioned, so consider yourself mentioned right now, because I will undoubtedly forget some. But I did want to shout out and give a thank you to Kurt Spalding, who's the regional administrator from EPA, who's here, who has been a great partner with us here. Bill White at the CEC, who has done a phenomenal job, I think, as a New Bedford resident. And I'm not quite sure where the white section is, but I think his entire family is there. They are in the back. They are all right here. If Bill can't do anything, he can build a crowd. So thank you for being here. Scott Jordan is representing Secretary Shore, where all the money is coming through and the checks and balances. Thank you, Scott, for your work. I do have to give a shout out to all of my team: Bobby Cates Garnett, the Undersecretary of Energy; Phil Griffiths, the Undersecretary for the Environment; Ken Kimmel from DEP; Mary Griffin from Fish and Game; Ed Lambert from DCR; and Mark Sylvia from the Department of Energy Resources. They have all been great and all have a part to play in this project. Our next speaker has a unique view of this project because he's lived it from a couple of different angles, first in the governor's office and now as our United States Senator. And I think it says a lot about Senator Cowan that the first trip he took as a U.S. Senator was down here to talk about and meet with the fishing industry and the fishermen of New Bedford, and he has been to Gloucester, and he's holding listening sessions, and he was in Boston last week as part of that rally. It speaks volume to his character and his concern for the fishing industry and how we are going to be able to have the fishing industry work with and grow with the offshore wind industry, and it is because of his vision and his character that he is the United States Senator. I am very proud to introduce our U.S. Senator, Senator Mo Cowan. Good morning, New Bedford. I want you to know, picking up where Rick left off, where Secretary Sullivan left off, when I'm in Massachusetts during the week and the weekends here with my family, I lay my head down at night in the town of Stoughton. But Mayor Mitchell feels like I live in New Bedford. And it's a good place to live. And I'm happy to be back here this morning celebrating with you as we begin this next phase of the resurgence of this great city. I acknowledge all the dignitaries as well, particularly the governor, lieutenant governor, because I've had the pleasure of working with them on that side of the ledger to see this happen. And I know there are no more dedicated individuals in public or private life than these two men about this project, this industry, and what it means not just for New Bedford, not just the South Coast, not just the Commonwealth, but frankly our nation. And so they deserve our applause. So let me go to my script. Good morning, and thank you for inviting me to participate in this momentous event. I'm excited to be part of the groundbreaking for a project that I know will lead to even greater economic growth, opportunities, and prosperity for this city and the Commonwealth as a whole. Thanks to the leadership of all the local, state, and federal officials, the New Bedford Marine Commerce Terminal will create thousands of job opportunities and allow our Commonwealth to continue to remain a leader in clean energy and technology innovation. This terminal will support the construction, assembly, and deployment of materials for Cape Wind, the first offshore wind farm in the country, and for future offshore wind projects in federal waters off our coast. New Bedford is now poised as a leader in this emerging infrastructure industry, and the whole region stands to benefit from the jobs that will accompany the terminal. This is a first-of-its-kind project. Not only is Massachusetts strategically investing in vital alternative energy sources, but we are ensuring that the thousands of high-quality jobs created by these investments grow and stay right here at home. This is an exciting time for the city and the Commonwealth, and I look forward to seeing this terminal in action. And let me say this, and this is off script. For those of my colleagues in Washington who question the wisdom of public investment in innovative infrastructure, I invite them to New Bedford to see how public dollars yield private investment and help our economy grow and stay strong. Thank you very much. Thank you, Senator. We are in the congressional district of Congressman Keating, and the Congressman has been great partners with us on this project from day one in terms of working through the federal permits that we've needed to be able to construct this project and do it, as the governor said, on time, and that has been valuable assistance. So it is my privilege to introduce Congressman Bill Keating.
Well, thank you, Rick. I don't think I have a script because I began thinking what it would be like after these years to be here today, and it's sort of in the realm of the ineffable. I have a hard time putting it into words, but I'll try. You know, I looked at all the people here, and you realize just what a large partnership this is. And there were so many doubters, so many people that couldn't say, that said it wouldn't be done. They're not here today. They are somewhere else, not moving our country, our state, and our city forward. And I'm going to tell you, the partners we have, there's one thing I can say with great certainty. If it wasn't for our governor, we wouldn't be here. Our governor is the leader among all governors in the country on renewable energy and on environment. And this is one tangible example. This is what happens when you put federal government, state government, local government, when you put the public side, when you put organized labor. Any labor people here, by the way? When you put people together and you have the right vision and you stick to it when it's tough, you get results like we have here today. You know, when we were doing the fiscal cliff legislation, probably in my period of time, one of the watershed issues in our country about whether we're going to go forward or whether we're going to survive or what's going to happen. The issue of offshore wind was so important that it was part of that package. Not much else was in that package. But there's a reason for that. Because there's enough offshore wind potential in the United States of America to take care of 4 times the amount of electricity we need in our country. And that is with clean, renewable energy, and 25% of that is in the Northeast. We are at the center of that, and that means jobs, that means new jobs, good jobs. And Deval, I want to tell you, I was talking to one of the biggest economists in Europe, and he said there's $1 trillion with a T, $1.5 trillion ready to invest in the place they want to invest in the world, the United States, but they need people like you that are going to be trained. And that's what we have to do. That's one of our next assignments, Governor, before you leave. Get those numbers up and we'll get more jobs here. But I want to tell you this, that as we go forward, and as we look, we're going forward as a country, this will also mark one of our most important steps as well. Because, you know, those of us in public life, we like to talk about the future, and we like to give hope. But right here in New Bedford, at this time, at this moment, in this location, the future is now, and we've done that, and we're going to go forward and lead the rest of the country in our most important area we can, our energy independence and creating good jobs for the future. Congratulations to all of you. We couldn't have done it with each and every one of you, and thank you.
And looking out, there are a couple of people that have really lived this project on the ground. I know Roberto Ramirez from CEC is here somewhere. Thank you, Roberto. And Gary Davis, who had a unique role here. He serves as my general counsel, which most people normally, probably day to day, think of living in the office in Boston and checking up and making sure we're not doing anything wrong. But Gary has been on the ground because this has been an administrative priority to make this happen, and I just wanted to give Gary a personal thank you for the work that you've done. As I think every single speaker has mentioned, this is a project that will bring jobs in the future. It will bring economic development opportunities in the future. There are spin-offs from this project in the offshore wind industry that will need to grow. And there is no better place for them to grow than in New Bedford, in the New Bedford region. And there is nobody who understands the importance of that growth, planning for that growth, being smart about that growth, and incubating it right here in New Bedford. It's my great opportunity to introduce Mayor John Mitchell.
Boy, what a great day for New Bedford. I said, what a great day for New Bedford. And not just for New Bedford, but for the surrounding region, and as Lieutenant Governor Murray said, for the entire Commonwealth and the entire country. For a corner of the state that has had its hopes dashed so many times in the past, wanting transformative economic development and not quite getting there, now it's real. The South Terminal project holds the potential for a generation of jobs like nothing that has materialized in the last half century. It will enable New Bedford to gain a leg up in a mature and enormously prosperous European industry that is soon coming to the United States. Most of all, it will give those who here have been looking for jobs long and hard a new opportunity. Most of all, I'd like to say today that I want to thank Governor Patrick and Lieutenant Governor Murray for true visionary leadership in this way. And I don't use that term lightly. The term visionary leadership is almost cliche these days, and it applies to just about anybody who tries something new. But what the governor and the lieutenant governor together have established here is something that was not only based on the long view of New Bedford and the region and the Commonwealth, but also of the entire country. And it wasn't easy. There were opponents. There are opponents. There were deep-pocketed opponents, people who fought this long and hard. But at the end of the day, the governor saw clearly that this isn't an initiative. This is a step that needed to happen, not just because it's in Massachusetts' interest, but really the entire country's. We don't want the country, when it comes to climate change and rising sea levels, we don't want the Commonwealth or America to be holding the bag. To be holding the bag, I said. No, this is an investment. This is an investment in the future to protect the next generation. And it's about, at the end of the day, for New Bedford, about job creation. It is about giving us the tools we need to succeed. And that's in keeping with Governor Patrick's overall strategy. The strategy of this administration has been leave no region of the state behind, and Governor, you have not left us behind. Other governors have, and you have not done that. From our perspective, the other big component of your strategy has been to give regions the tools they need to control their own economic destiny, to take control of their affairs, and that's what you're doing. We all know that the state can't come down and give us money like manna from heaven and expect jobs to materialize. We here locally are in control of our own destiny, and the state plays a critical and indispensable role in making it happen for us, to give us what we need to help ourselves. And Governor, this harkens back to an exchange you and I had some months ago, and I don't know if you remember it, but at Newton North High School, I got up in front of all the mayors at the Mayors Association meeting and thanked you for your support of this project. And you gave a very simple, a very pithy response that really captures your approach and what's necessary for New Bedford. And what you said was, make the most of it. Make the most of it. And so that's what we're doing here in New Bedford. We're doing things in this industry, for this industry, in connection with this industry, that cities our size don't even contemplate. We're a city of 100,000 people. We just came back, 30 of us from New Bedford, on a trade mission to Europe, to Cuxhaven and Bremerhaven, Germany, and Brande, Denmark, to take a look at how they do it. We're not sitting back and waiting for all this stuff to happen. We have a wind advisory task force. We've established a wind energy center. We're already planning workforce development. We're establishing relationships with business leaders here in America and overseas in Europe. We're not going to just hope for the best and just see whether it happens. We're taking the bull by the horns, but we have that support from the state, and we've got it. We've got it in the form of this administration, and we've got it at the federal level in the Obama administration. We've got it with our congressional delegation with Senator Cowan, Congressman Keating, and so many others. We've got it in our state delegation, Senator Montigny, Representative Cabral, Representative Markey, and the others who are here today. There's an alignment here that we're really trying to take advantage of, and we're going to make the most of it. So while I'm here today, let me give a shout out to a few people who made today possible. I want to, this has been a complicated transaction to say the least, and I wanted to thank the folks on the state side, particularly Secretary Rick Sullivan, for his leadership in making this go. And his team in particular, Alicia Barton, Bill White, Gary Davis, who really should take up residency in New Bedford because they've been practically living down here anyway, as Bill's family would attest. I want to thank the New Bedford team, the very strong and very, very talented New Bedford team for making it happen. Most of all, Matt Morrissey, who has been driving this for so long. And so many others in New Bedford, Neil Mello, John Markey, Jeff Steeb, Ed Washburn, This is a real team effort here by a very, very talented team. We're here today and let me also note, you know, for those of us who are here from New Bedford, we know that the mayor and the city council don't see eye to eye on everything. But when it comes to offshore wind, we are in lockstep with one another. And I know today that we have a number of city councilors who are here, including Jim Oliveira from Ward 1, Steve Martins from Ward 2, Bruce Stewart, our city council president, who represented the city council in our trip to Europe last week, Jane Gonzalez and Joe Lopes, and I know all the other councilors are focused on the future here in New Bedford and making this a place where jobs will happen. We've got our work cut out for us, but we've got what it takes to succeed. You see those guys lumping fish over there? We know what we're doing out in the water. We'll know what we're doing out in the water when it comes to offshore wind. We're near the wind. As Congressman Keating said, 25% of the nation's wind reserves lie just south of Martha's Vineyard. We're sitting on the Saudi Arabia of wind. As the Lieutenant Governor noted, we're building the infrastructure along the water to make it happen. And the political commitment is there from the President, the Obama administration, to the Patrick administration, right down to the city of New Bedford. So together, let's make this happen. And I wanted, Governor, to commemorate this occasion with the future in mind, not only New Bedford's economic future, but also the future of the Commonwealth's future with clean energy, and the Commonwealth and the United States is the country's future in clean energy. To ask Ian Medeiros, who is a 5th grader at the Jira Swift Elementary School, to come on up. He's got something to present to you, Governor, that I think will mark the occasion well. Where is Ian? Where did he go? Oh, there he is. Come on up, buddy. Let everybody see it.
Yes. Okay.
There have been a lot of politicians speaking up here today, so there's plenty of wind to make this go. Go, Ian, come on back. Oh, you have some more.
You got more.
Oh, all right,
Okay.
all right. Oh, now we're talking.
Just in case the wind doesn't burn.
Okay.
All right.
Okay, so
Can you move out of the way? Is it generating electricity here?
yes.
Wow.
Light the light. Show people the light. Hold up the light in. Lighting the light.
If you can,
And you built it.
yeah.
You built
This
it.
is really great. Wow.
If you can see it,
Yeah.
if you can hear it, it makes it.
Making kind of a whirring sound.
Yeah.
That is amazing. Well done.
Nice job.
So if you think that, so this little turbine can power this. Think how much those turbines can power.
Everything else.
Precisely. Nice job,
Great
buddy.
work. Great work.
Nice job.
Thank you very much. That's impressive. Great, thank you.
And Bill White, that's going to be your job to go out with the can out in the thing. And Governor, I didn't go on that Germany-Denmark trip, but I'm happy to go back and check to see how they're doing over there if you'd like. Whenever you have a project of this size, you always have many partners. And our partners in the state legislature understand the importance of this particular project, but they also understand the importance of making smart investment choices that are not just always bridges and infrastructure, but they also can be new infrastructure projects in communities to bring jobs and growth, and to do it smartly and wisely. And someone who has always provided that oversight function is your Senator, Senator Montigny.
Thank you. Welcome to this fabulous city. How many of you have never been to New Bedford? I assume not many, but raise your hand. Admit it. Thank you. Not one. Come on. That's good. I'd call you out immediately. Jamil, a lesson in democracy. I thought I would tell you today that it only takes one person to make a difference, and guarantee that the front page of the newspaper tomorrow would be a picture of the governor with the sign behind. But Ian, you stole the show. That is a lesson in democracy, so take that, reporters. I have no doubt there'll be competition for the front page tomorrow. Jamil, are you 18? There's a funny saying that we have in politics about how often politicians are retired because of illness, due to the fact that the voters get sick of them quite often. So I thought about you as you were speaking, and I thought I'd like to cut a deal and say that when you become of electoral age, maybe you and I should talk, and I'll have self-imposed term limits if, in fact, the voters haven't retired me due to illness. Is that a deal? Very impressive, my friend. And Ian, I don't even want to talk about you. I'll be long gone by the time you're... I have a lot to say, and the good news is, at least for me, is I'm up here alone, so they can't use the hook of folks behind me to tell me that my time is up. But this doesn't count towards my time, putting a back pat your way, Governor. We were due to be here a couple of weeks ago, and some tragic circumstances intervened. And I want to say everyone here, of course, has felt the pain, the unanswered questions. We have lived it personally because many of us knew runners who were very close to this evil. And we have unfortunately lived it more locally than we wish. I'm a very proud graduate of UMass Dartmouth. In fact, I chose UMass Dartmouth over Boston College, so I'm very proud of that. And it's been particularly disturbing to see that incredible institution that we are so proud of somehow connected to this horrible tragedy. In my most frustrating, angry, hurtful times, I thought of the way that you have handled yourself since this tragedy, with dignity, with class, with courage and strength. And it has made me personally, and I think I speak for some of the other elected leaders here and appointed leaders, and just perhaps for every constituent that is grieving, it made us restrain ourselves in the face of this evil, but also in the face of some of the ignorance that has been shared on the airwaves. I think of, and perhaps it's an 800-pound gorilla in the room of a great celebration, but there's a talk show host on a national level. I won't feed the fires of narcissism with any fuel, but it's particularly hurtful when somehow New Bedford and UMass Dartmouth perhaps were painted in a different way than they should. And I say that today because, again, in the deepest frustration, I watched you on the airwaves. I know what you've gone through personally in this tragedy, and I want you to know how much respect you have of mine and of my constituency. This does not count towards my time, Secretary, because I want to now say, on a more positive note, I think about another act that you took recently, perhaps to the chagrin of some on Beacon Hill, which is okay, and you said something that was music to our ears. There's nothing more important, and that includes this incredible project that I'm about to conclude my speaking on. There's nothing more important than the extension of South Coast commuter rail to this, the extension of commuter rail to the South Coast. And for you to say with certainly an expression of political capital and then some, for you to say, I will not sign a transportation bill without assurances that South Coast Rail will happen, is something that we will remember for a long time to come, my friend. Let me close on this. I love the city. It's my home. I'm lucky to represent it. I was talking to Mo Cowan earlier today, who's a true friend of mine and of the city, and I really hope we can talk him out of it. I know we can't talk you into a third term, but we might be able to talk him out of it at some point, and we're working on that. And I was talking to him about this crazy avocation I have starting post-college, where I've literally, and I've gotten worse in middle age, I've literally backpacked the world, and I'm writing and thinking about human rights issues and America's place in the world and the world's place in America. And I thought about an unintended consequence as I began to think about what I might say at the podium. And the unintended consequence is that the more I see of the world, and I've seen some crazy places and some beautiful places, the more I see of the world, the more I realize I am so lucky. I live a mile away in the most beautiful historic district in this Commonwealth. And you can buy, right near you, Jane Gonzalez. And how is this relevant to this project? Well, because we have all of you here today, and I don't believe that some of you haven't missed this place over the years. You didn't raise your hand. Take the time today, not only to look at this beautiful working harbor, but take the time to go up the street, and you will find more incredible restaurants and galleries and coffee shops per square foot than you'll find in most places in the world. It is the most unique city, and I say that, I know, with some bias, but remember, because many of you have the ability to invest, remember what investment is all about. Remember. And if you look at the gap between perception and reality, there are very few cities in this country where the investment opportunity is better because of the gap between perception and reality. You can still invest here at a reasonable rate and find an incredible return. And I'm proud to serve with Tony Cabral and Bill Strauss and Chris Markey here, and I promise I'll close on this note. We've been here, in fact, Tony and I are the only ones on the podium today that years ago, with different governors, struggled with a vision, struggled to fund that vision, and the vision was very simple. Take these natural assets, one of the most incredible historic cities in the country, Buzzards Bay, right here, by the way, great place to sail after you spend your investment dollars. And we sat there over a decade ago and said, how can we transform this community back into what it was? Sort of a back to the future investment plan. And that means respecting the commercial fleet, which is our lifeblood. It means progressing forward with new industries like the announcement today, and it means respecting that we have tourism assets and cultural assets here second to none. And this legislative delegation, I'm proud to say, it's forgotten sometimes in the hustle of our daily experiences in our work. This legislative delegation, with the first time true partner of this governor, has invested literally hundreds of millions of dollars of taxpayer money in that vision, the integration of that vision of arts and culture and commercial interest together. And what you have here is a very unique place. So spend the day, check us out, and spend your money here. And Jim Gordon, by the way, spend every dollar you have creating jobs right here, my friend. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Senator. I too wanted to recognize Chairman Bill Strauss that's with us here today, Representative Chris Markey, former Senator Joan Menard, and former Rep John Quinn that are here. They have all in their own way played an important part of bringing us to today. Our last elected official that's going to speak is Representative Cabral, and I have to say just one quick story which I think sums up where Representative Cabral stands and where he comes from. When we had a briefing in his office to go over the schedule for the bidding process in this project and then the construction process, he asked a lot of questions, but he really only made one statement, which was, take care of my laborers in New Bedford. And I think that says it all. Representative Tony Cabral.
Good morning. It's wonderful to be here, isn't it? On a sunny day, Governor, thank you very much. And Lieutenant Governor, thanks as well. This governor, and obviously all of us have to say this governor has been one of the best partners we ever had as far as I can remember. So thank you, Governor, for your partnership. And to all of you, welcome to my district. Welcome to my district. It's a wonderful place by the water. I do have the pleasure of having practically 100% of the working waterfront in my district. So it is with delight that I'm here to announce and help announce a new venture for the future of the city and for the working people of this city. This is about creating jobs, yes, for those laborers. Some folks who live right immediately around this neighborhood, right immediately around this area, they are looking for jobs and the jobs of the future. But we started this process some time ago with Governor Patrick, Lieutenant Governor Murray, about 2009, 2010, around putting this piece together, putting this project together. We started in 2008 with the Green Communities Act that led to this today, the creation of the CEC that is leading this project. It was created through the Green Communities Act that the legislature, along with Governor Patrick, passed, that set the stage for not only this project and for future projects of this nature, for clean energy projects. That was the piece of legislation that really set the stage for us to move forward in this area. So, to my friends and to my colleagues in the legislature, not only from this area, in particular this area, our delegation, that we fought tooth and nail to make sure that Greens Communities Act was going to be a piece of legislation that we all could be proud of, but also a piece of legislation that was going to create jobs, and create jobs not only for this generation, but future generations, as you saw Ian here a little earlier presented to the governor, his project. Really, I mean, that's the kind of jobs that he's going to be able to be involved in the future, and the future generations are going to be involved. The present generation is going to be building this place, building the original infrastructure, but it is the future generation and the future jobs that will be created that will really create the stage for this city to be, again, the wealthiest community in this country that has been twice before. It shows the resilience of the people of New Bedford. It shows that we care and we know where the future is, and we're going to be involved every step of the way. So to all of you, thank you again. I can't wait for the groundbreaking. I hope I have a shovel there for myself. But finally, let me tell you, this is a tremendous investment. A tremendous investment on the part of the Commonwealth, led by the governor and the legislature, but it's every single one of our dollars coming back to this community. One of our jobs as legislators is to bring every single penny that we can back to our community, because all it is we are recollecting those tax dollars that we send up to Boston or we send up to Washington. So don't be ashamed that every single one of those dollars are coming back, and there is a lot of them. Potentially $100 million just for this project alone, not to mention the South Coast. But just think of this. This is our money coming back to our community, to be reinvested in our community, to create the jobs that we need to make future generations not having to leave the city, but stay in the city and grow in this city. This is about making opportunities for young people and our families so they can live and thrive in this community as they've had in the past. So, Mr. Secretary, I think he deserves also a hand, because his leadership in this particular area has been tremendous. So, Secretary Sullivan has been an example of the kind of official that this governor has appointed, and he really shows the quality of secretaries and other officials that we have in this state government, due to this governor and this lieutenant governor knowing how important it is to have the right people in the right place. So thank you very much, Governor. Thank you again. I love those glasses, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Representative. And it is about investments, and we know that the legislature has difficult votes on investments and the revenues to pay for those, and some of those votes are coming up. So it is important that everybody understand that those are tough votes. You should be encouraging your legislators to take those tough votes, because it is days like today when we see what those investments yield in terms of jobs in the better future for tomorrow and for the next generation. So I appreciate those tough votes, and good luck, and remember these days and these people here when those votes are being taken. Now, there are a lot of representatives from labor here. There's a lot of business managers, a lot of locals that are being represented. I am going to introduce from the crowd Frank Callahan, who's the president of the Mass Building Trade Council, as well as Dave Aruzio, who is the president of the South Shore Mass Building Council. On behalf of everyone, the governor has promised to take a picture with the shovels with all the representatives from labor. But in terms of speaking here today, it is my privilege to introduce Justin Sylvia, who is a resident of New Bedford and a member of Local 4, the Heavy Equipment Operators Union. Justin.
Hello, ladies and gentlemen, distinguished guests, and Governor Patrick. Born and raised here in New Bedford, it's been my pleasure to be here this morning for what I consider to be a major event for the area. I am a heavy equipment operator and I'm also a member of Local 4 and have been working in the construction field for several years. Fortunately, I was able to get an early start in the field as my grandfather owned and operated an excavation company. It piqued my interest at an early age and I channeled my desires and devotion towards this type of profession. I quickly became very passionate about the industry and set out to secure the necessary licenses required to perform the various jobs. Learning the many facets of the construction industry has always intrigued me. Being a dedicated family man, it's always been my dream and hope to be fortunate enough to work for established companies locally. Currently, I'm commuting a good distance to remain actively employed, which presents long days. The notion of retaining stable employment is of the utmost importance to me. With that said, I can confidently say that I am happy that I chose this field to enhance my career going forward. I'd also like to acknowledge the fact that it's a particularly exciting time to be part of the groundbreaking ceremony for what I consider to be an engaging and major project, not only for the South Coast, but particularly for the greater New Bedford area and its community. So in closing, I would like to commend Governor Patrick for his leadership and dedication to provide such opportunities in a timely fashion and his commitment to put the South Coast on the move. The inspiring South Terminal project, coupled with positive reinforcement and realization of employment opportunities in the community, is of major magnitude. Thank you.
Thank you.
In representing the offshore wind industry, which, as the governor indicated, in the future will be a huge job creator in Massachusetts and New Bedford, the greater New Bedford region, and the importance of our first projects in the industry at large, and the fact that Massachusetts has been the first leader into the offshore wind industry. And as the governor likes to say, we will be first and all the other states can compete for second. It's my privilege to introduce Vice President of Offshore Wind Development Coalition, Doug Pfister.
Thank you, Secretary, and thank you everyone for coming on this beautiful day. My organization, the Offshore Wind Development Coalition, got started about 3 years ago because we want to get the policies right in Washington. And so Cape Wind, who's here, including Dennis Duffy, who is the chairman of our board, Deepwater Wind, Offshore MW, and other developers, and many in the supply chain, including Siemens, we all got together and said we need a voice in Washington that's going to advocate just for offshore wind. So we've been busy making sure smart legislation is passed on the Hill, like the ITC that was passed in the fiscal cliff legislation earlier this year, and that we have smart policies at the Department of the Interior, such as accelerated leasing and permitting that's been led by Ken Salazar, now Sally Jewell. And the Interior controls the submerged land on which most of the projects will sit. These are the kinds of decisions that make today's groundbreaking possible. While our focus is on federal issues, we fully appreciate that without the states supporting offshore wind, the industry will not take off. The $100 million project exemplifies the kind of state leadership that must be taken to launch not just 1 or 2 or 3 offshore wind projects, but an entire industry. This facility, the first of its kind in the U.S., will receive and deploy, I just want to keep this in perspective, turbine blades, each longer than half a football field, nacelles, which house the electrical generator, the size of your living room, tower cylinders you can drive a car through, and foundations weighing hundreds of tons. The new Bedford terminal, with a loading capacity of over 4,000 pounds per square foot, will receive these components and load them onto vessels out to offshore wind sites in New England, and we expect beyond. In fact, the Interior Department has identified more than 1.6 million acres from Virginia to Massachusetts as prime wind energy areas, with more than half of this area off the coast of Massachusetts and Rhode Island. The 743,000 acre Massachusetts zone has 4,000 megawatts of offshore wind potential, capable of powering 1.7 million homes and creating thousands of clean energy jobs and avoiding millions of tons of CO2. Yes. New Bedford's future can be seen in European ports like Cuxhaven and Bremerhaven in Germany today, both revived by offshore wind growth that has so far led to the construction of 55 offshore wind farms in Europe and the creation of more than 35,000 jobs. Members of a trade mission organized by this city last month, and it included our president, Jim Leonard, saw this firsthand. And I believe the city of New Bedford has it right, because now it's our turn. This multi-purpose facility, also capable of handling heavy marine cargo, perfect for lags in between offshore wind projects, is due to start construction next year and represents a key link in the offshore wind supply chain. It and the billions of dollars to be invested in wind farms will create jobs of all stripes throughout the economy, make electricity prices less volatile since the cost of our fuel is free, and help keep more energy jobs in the state. But we must keep in mind that large-scale clean energy projects like these will be critical as this and subsequent generations are forced to meet the threat of global climate change. Thank you much for your time, and congratulations to New Bedford.
Now, I hope everybody doesn't feel like everything's been said, but not everybody has said it. But because our last speaker is probably in many ways the most important, because the Clean Energy Center is going to take this project and make it work through construction and then ultimately operation, which is, at the end of the day, which is where the rubber's going to meet the road. The Clean Energy Center, as has been said, was created back as part of the Green Communities, Green Jobs Act back in 2007, 2008, with the sole purpose of growing the clean energy sector here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. And they have done great work in such a short period of time that we have over 5,000 companies working in the field, over 72,000 people employed in the industry. And this investment is indicative of the smart investments that need to be made to grow the industry here in the Commonwealth of Massachusetts. The CEC is represented here today by their CEO, Alicia Barton.
Thank you, Secretary Sullivan, for the opportunity to provide a very brief conclusion to today's absolutely historic event. What we have heard articulated here today is an amazing vision for the future. It's a vision for what we can achieve if we make the investments necessary to harness American-made energy to provide clean and reliable sources of power for our economy as we move towards a clean energy future. It's a vision of the jobs and economic development opportunities that come when we make a shared investment in infrastructure. And it's a vision of this truly unique opportunity to build an entirely new industry for offshore wind here in New Bedford, Massachusetts, and blaze a trail that the rest of the country will be following. At the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, it is our job to do the work to actually make this very bold vision a reality. That's not going to be an easy task, and as we've heard from all the speakers today, the bar has been set very high. And Governor, I heard you loud and clear about the project delivery date. But I also heard from the Lieutenant Governor, from the Senator, from the Congressman, from the Mayor, from the legislative delegation, from labor, from the industry, from students like Jamil and Ian, all of us working together towards the exact same vision for the future. And that's a truly amazing thing. At the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, we are looking forward to working with all of you to make the promises of today's event a reality. And I just want to say that I think if we're all doing that together, we're absolutely up to the task. I want to conclude by saying on behalf of the team at the Massachusetts Clean Energy Center, and I'm very honored to lead a terrifically dedicated and talented team, that Governor, we are so proud that you have asked us to be at the forefront of this once-in-a-generation opportunity to create a new clean energy future for New Bedford, for Massachusetts, and for the United States. Thanks to everybody for being here with us today as we get started.
The first one, I think we're going to have the speakers.
Okay.
If we could ask all of the speakers to go and grab a shovel